Welcome to the Stoic Tide. There's a kind of death that doesn't take your body. It takes your spirit. It happens quietly. When a man stops living by his principles and starts living for approval. You see it in his eyes, in his posture, in the way he bends to please others, like a king who's forgotten his crown. The Stoics never measured a man's worth by his wealth, looks, or status. They measured it by how much of himself he still owned. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." And that's where decay begins, when we waste ourselves on things that do not strengthen the soul. But here's the truth. A man can reclaim himself, and it starts by recognizing the 5 signs, the quiet warning lights of weakness that kill strength from within. This is not for the faint-hearted. This is for men ready to rebuild their inner empire. Sign 1. You constantly seek validation. The first step into weakness is when you start living as if the opinions of others were your master. A low-value man doesn't lack money, status, or charm. He lacks spine. He bends to fit every room he enters. He reshapes his words to earn smiles. He hides his truth to avoid judgment. His peace depends on strangers. His worth depends on approval. He becomes a prisoner, locked behind the bars of validation. Epictetus warned long ago, "If you wish to be a man of peace, do not concern yourself with what others think of you, because the moment you let their voices define you, you become a puppet of the crowd, and a puppet can never command respect." To escape this, you must master the art of internal validation. Ask yourself, not, "Do they like me?" but, "Would I respect myself if no one was watching?" A high-value man becomes his own standard. He builds his own code of honor and lives by it in silence, and that silence becomes power. He doesn't chase approval. He radiates presence. He doesn't beg for validation. He earns respect without a word, because respect isn't demanded. It's emanated from the quiet certainty of a man who answers only to his conscience. Sign 2. You let your emotions control you. The second sign of weakness is invisible, yet deadly. It's when your emotions control your life. Anger, jealousy, fear, envy. When a man becomes a slave to his emotions, he's not living, he's reacting. He loses reason, he loses discipline, he loses himself. Seneca said, "He who angers you conquers you." Think about that. Every time you explode, envy, or lash out, you hand your enemy your crown. The Stoics didn't kill emotion. They mastered it. They felt deeply, but never kneeled to feeling. A Stoic watches emotion like a passing storm. He feels it, studies it, but never lets it steer the ship. That's why Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. True dominance isn't loud. It's the pause before the reaction, the breath before the response, the moment of stillness when chaos expects you to break, and you don't. That pause is where manhood lives. That's where power begins. Sign 3. You surround yourself with weak men. The third sign of weakness is contagious, the people you surround yourself with. A man becomes the reflection of his circle. If you walk among gossips, cowards, and addicts, you inherit their habits. Seneca said, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you." But most men today surround themselves with comfort, with mediocrity, with noise. They tolerate gossip and call it friendship. They confuse distraction for brotherhood. They celebrate weakness disguised as fun. A low-value man doesn't protect his energy. He lets anyone feed on it, and soon he becomes like the company he keeps, aimless, restless, hollow. But the Stoic man knows, to grow stronger, he must prune his life like a disciplined gardener. He cuts away what no longer serves his purpose, not out of hate, but out of necessity. When you quietly distance yourself from toxic company, you don't isolate yourself, you fortify yourself. Your circle defines your future. If your friends don't challenge your complacency, you don't have a circle, you have a cage. The high-value man chooses his circle like a king chooses his council. Few, loyal, sharp, each one a mirror that reflects discipline, not distraction. That is how a man becomes untouchable. Sign 4. You are a slave to emotion. There's a quiet tragedy that destroys men long before death ever does. It's called emotional slavery. A man ruled by emotion will always be ruled by others. He becomes predictable, fragile, reactive. One insult, he explodes. One rejection, he crumbles. One disapproval, he loses himself. Epictetus wrote, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Every outburst is proof that your peace belongs to someone else. Every panic, every jealousy, every complaint is a receipt for the power you just gave away. A Stoic feels emotion, but does not become it. He channels anger into action. He turns pain into purpose. He transforms jealousy into focus. This is the art of emotional alchemy. When you master this, your presence changes. People feel your power, even when you say nothing. Because calmness in chaos is magnetic. Composure under pressure is respect incarnate. While others shout to be heard, you whisper and they listen. Your silence carries weight. Your restraint becomes legend. This is the difference between noise and command. Sign 5. You seek validation instead of mastery. The final and most dangerous sign is the hunger for validation. Men today live like beggars at the gates of approval. They post to be seen. They speak to be admired. They live to be noticed. And each time they do, they die a little inside. Epictetus warned, "If you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." But the modern man cannot stand being misunderstood. He craves applause more than truth. He fears judgment more than failure. The Stoics called this madness, because a man whose peace depends on others' praise is already a slave. Marcus Aurelius said, "Ambition means tying your well-being to what others say or do. Sanity means tying it to your own actions. That's the cure, to stop chasing validation and start chasing mastery. When you do that, your entire aura shifts. People sense it. You stop needing attention, and that's when you start commanding it. You walk differently. You speak with gravity. Your silence becomes your brand. Because the man who doesn't need approval becomes the man everyone respects." Closing message. The low-value man bends to please. The high-value man stands to lead. He guards his peace. He chooses his circle. He masters his emotions. He lives by principle, not by applause. And when he does, the world itself bends in respect. So ask yourself tonight, am I owned by the world, or do I own myself? Because every moment you choose discipline over validation, silence over noise, focus over comfort, you rise one level higher than the man you were yesterday. The Stoics believed that freedom is not found in escape, it's found in mastery, and mastery begins with you. If this message awakens something inside you, like, share, and subscribe to the Stoic Tide. Here we don't chase comfort, we build character. We forge strength, we become unshakable. Calm the chaos. Master the tide. The Stoic Tide.